So last night I drilled 60 holes in some 2x4 lumber, and that was live streamed. So this is the next day, and so this is what I'm making: an industrial style shelf. This is it, just to put it together to see if it works before I go and install this for the client. And so anyway, I have like 5 different projects I'm working right now. So my shop is extremely crazy, but I did want to come on and talk about, for some of you that will be in my in-person meeting tomorrow night for Smart Recovery, we're going to talk about meditation and how meditation isn't just, sitting. You don't have to sit cross-legged for 30 minutes to practice meditation. It can be as simple as taking a mindful breath or noticing what's happening around you, or creating art, any form of creation. It can be performance art, it can be writing, it can be woodworking like me, and you get in a type of flow state, and that's the meditation part of it. It's not your typical meditation. There's lots of different types of meditation, and we will get into that in a little bit. As long as my phone has battery and my microphone has battery, at some point later I might take my microphone off so I can plug in my phone for power. But yeah, so tomorrow night's Smart Recovery meeting in person, we're going to talk about that, and it's one of Smart Recovery, just so you don't think I'm messing around. This is the facilitator guide for meditation practice by Smart Recovery. So we're going to go over that, and just while I get some work done. So I'm going to try to do 2 things at once. And hopefully, I was asked to live stream by some of my participants. I'm a recovery coach, basically. A lot of people just call it that. And I'm also a Smart Recovery facilitator. So and that could be recovery, mental health challenges, and or substance use disorder. A lot of people think recovery is just, drugs or alcohol, and it's not. Also, Smart Recovery, the tools in Smart Recovery can be used for any problem behavior, quote unquote, any change you're trying to make. You can apply these tools to anything. So we help people with gambling issues. We help people with prescription use, misuse, and just the range is wide. And people that struggle with alcoholism, everything. So Smart Recovery can help with all those things. So I'm trying to talk fast because I have a lot of things to do. But I'm gonna put the camera way up high, and I won't be able to see the screen. But while I work frantically, I am going to go over some of the tools that Smart Recovery talks about, and how, because being in the shop is my meditation. It is my therapy. It is, well, I should say therapeutic. So that's why I say this is therapeutic arts time, because I think legally I'm not allowed to say we're doing therapy or counseling. I'm a registered peer recovery specialist in the state of Virginia, and so we're not counselors, we're not clinicians, but we are peers who have been there too. So I'm in recovery. I'm over 3.5 years right now in recovery, and I try to help other people. And the shop, like I said, is my meditation. So I'm just gonna frantically work on all the things I need to work on, and while I do it, I will talk about some of the things that apply to this. So sorry, I'm gonna put this, and I gotta turn the screen around because actually, let me try, this is a different phone, so let me try with the screen, the front camera. All right, let's hope this holds, because this is my phone. All right, and the microphone. All right, well, I guess I can see the screen. And thank you to you who just subscribed. It said for subscribing. That's awesome. Thank you. All right, so I'm gonna frantically work on stuff. I gotta kind of clean up from last night in order to work on what I need to today. I got to take this apart. I got to, after I drilled all these holes in these pieces for the shelf, I had a little bit of tear out on the back end, which is just where when you're going through with the Forstner bit on the back end, even though I had something behind it, it tears out a little bit. And so I have to put stain on that tear out. So I'm gonna stain the tear outs and some of the holes. And then we have to put lacquer on all these, because lacquer for this situation is gonna work best for me because A, I have it, and also it dries very quickly. And this isn't gonna be a crazy like high use type shelf. And so we're gonna use lacquer, satin lacquer. So I gotta, yeah, okay. I need to stop talking and get to work. And I just put this together just to see the concept. So I gotta take this apart real quick. So A, it's not in my way, and B, because I gotta finish this piece of wood. But it works, in fact. Yes, I have a tiny little shop, but I'm very, 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 very thankful to have a shop in the first place. It is very tiny, and so I often find myself, you know, having to move stuff and everything. I got other things to paint. I have image transfers going on, and tomorrow I have a Threads of Resilience program, which is fashion design for mental health and wellness, and that it requires some prep work, so I have to prep for that. It's like using textile arts as a therapy, and it's kind of along the lines of what we're going to talk about today. So once I start painting, I'll really be able to go over some of this, but the power of the flow state. And I'm sorry, I have a little bit of a cold or something going on, but using a creative outlet like woodworking as a recovery tool is often more effective than traditional sitting meditation for many people. It's a practice known as active meditation, and it provides a physical anchor for a wandering or anxious mind. So here's some things to talk about. The flow state. When you're deeply engaged in a craft or whatever it is, measuring twice, cutting once, or sanding a grain, you enter the flow state. I'm sure a lot of y'all know what the flow state is because you might have experienced it if you are a maker as well. The benefit of this state is the self-critical part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, quiets down. For some people in recovery, this provides a much needed break from the chatter of cravings, guilt, or anxiety. It's a natural way to achieve a calm, focused brain without external substances. And it goes on to say about tangible results and an intangible journey. Recovery can feel very slow and invisible, and you can't always like see your progress every day. So it's hard to stay motivated sometimes. So the tangible result, the benefit, like for instance, woodworking like I do, it provides kind of an immediate, it does take patience, but it's more of an immediate physical evidence of effort. So you're seeing the raw wood, like I talked about, all these pieces looked like this originally, just from the lumber yard at the local big box store. And it takes work. It took work sanding it down, staining it, cutting the holes, but I'm gonna get a tangible result and I'm getting paid for it. So it's kind of like I'm turning my love of woodworking into income. And that can create burnout sometimes, so you got to be careful about living a balanced life. And that's another smart recovery tool, is living a balanced life. And it goes on, it goes to their 4 points program, and that one would go to like staying motivated and living a balanced life. And I found that's the same with everything. It's got to be a balance, you know. So anyway, I'm gonna concentrate here so I don't break. I'm worried about this wood splitting. I did it, the holes kind of on a little close to the edge, but I wanted the customer to be able to use these as much shelf space as possible. And so I went in what I thought was pretty deep, but it could still happen if I put too much pressure on this. This wood could just snap on the corner. So I'm really trying to be careful to not do that because I have a deadline for this. I'm supposed to install this on Friday. All right, so now these come out. So yeah, working on things like crafting or making in general gives you physical evidence of the effort. This one did not want to go in. This one's hard to get out, sorry. So it's proves that you have the power to change things. And a lot of my woodworking in my program, we talk about that a lot, how we try to use all recycled materials, things that were once discarded, thrown out, still have life left and can be really beautiful. And that is a good metaphor for someone in recovery. It gives us hope that things do get better and recovery is possible. So I have a video that I will be releasing that I was asked to do for a recovery advisory panel that I'm on, and they wanted us to tell our story in a creative way. And my background is in audio-visual technology. I was a news director, a technical media producer, they called it, for about 10 years in broadcasting. And that's just what I know. I went to school for audio recording technology, and so anyway, I used the medium of film, or basically, so I have a video, I just haven't put it on YouTube yet, but I will be coming, so that'll give you more in-depth of my story. But in general, I am someone in recovery, and for 3.5 years, my drug of choice was opiates and stimulants, or opiates and cocaine, unfortunately. But now, I live life free of those substances. Before I get rid of this big green tablecloth, I'm going to give the pieces of wood for another project another coat while I have this out. So I'm going to be painting for a second. I often switch between projects. While one thing's drying, I'm working on another thing, and so forth and so on. But I used for over 26 years every day. I was on Suboxone for 15 years. And it's crazy how you just get in a little groove of life and life just passes you by so quick. And all of a sudden I'm 41, I'm about to turn 42, which is gonna make me cry if I think too much about it. But yeah. So going back to the hope, which I was just talking about, is I didn't think recovery was possible for me. Things had gotten so bad, for real. I didn't quite become homeless, but everything else, I lost my career of 17 years. So this paint is chalk paint, and so it really gets chalky around the edges. So that's what I'm running into here. I'm just pouring a little bit on, and I need to get a white coat on these. But yeah, making something like an old piece of wood come to life again, have new life, and be beautiful is a great metaphor, because it gives us hope. And that's what I was getting at, is I didn't think recovery was possible for me. I didn't think I could be happy without substances. And I had tried to quit. I had tried different modalities. But in the end, the difference was, this time, was smart recovery, Smart Recovery is awesome. If you've never heard of it, it is a alternative to the 12-step program. And it hasn't been in used quite as long. It doesn't have as much of a history as NA and AA, but it has been around for a very long time. Lots of people have used it, and it uses evidence-based practices as a basis for their tools and teachings. And so yeah, I started going to Smart Recovery meetings, and the other difference was this: making kept me out of trouble. Like, for real, woodworking, I say, kind of saved my life. When I got home from jail and rehab, the only thing I hadn't sold for money for drugs was, pretty much, was my chop saw, and I still have it. Basically a miter saw. And so I had lost my job. Nowhere would really hire somebody. There are second chance companies out there, they call them, that do hire people with a record, but I had to just make stuff happen. So I found like a random 4x4 and just started cutting it into little slabs and made coasters. And that's what kind of started it all. And sitting there, cutting that wood and making that ugly piece of 4x4 come to life and be very beautiful after effort, that was therapy. I just was blown away. So I've always been a musician, but I had to get away. All those years I was a traveling musician as well, weekend warrior as they call it, trying to hold down a full-time job and be in a band. I was in a few different bands, and I played keyboards, and I also made music for television, and not any actual films, but in my mind it was so ingrained with using that I had to just step away from all of music and just basically excommunicated music from my life. So I have always been creative. And it was cool to get back to that creative part of me, because I thought that was gone too, because I had lost it in my active addiction, and I was worried I didn't get it back. And so when I did start to get the creativity back, it was very promising, and gave me hope, because my brain was healing itself. The elasticity of the brain is amazing, how it can eventually restore itself back to baseline. And so, yeah, with the ugly 4x4 and the one saw I had, I made a bunch of coasters. Those sold, and then I started making little knickknacks and stuff. I'm a third generation woodworker. My grandfather did the same, and they had tables at markets and events. And so yeah, I sold at some markets and events, made a little bit of money, but where most of the money came from was making acoustic panels, because I was able to blend my love for woodworking with my background, and that is audio acoustics, like the panels you see in studios for soundproofing and sound solutions. And so I started that, and I was very busy with that. But anyway, that was the difference in my recovery, was just staying in the shop, learning something new again, getting creative again, like staying in here. And actually at first I didn't have this place, we built this, but staying in my other shop, quote unquote, which was my back porch, kept me out of trouble. It really did. All right. See, maybe I can't talk and work at the same time. I thought I could. All right. I have so much work to do. I need to get this paint stuff away from me so I can work on the actual project that has a deadline and a paying customer. So my phone is still working. Yay. Hi. So I'm gonna bring this stuff inside so it can dry. Whew. Yeah, or at least out on the back porch. Lots of wood scraps are great to have sitting around. It is cold and rainy day. I'm going to run inside real quick and leave my microphone here for now. I will be right back. All right. They are drying outside of here, so that'll give me room. Anyway, sorry about that. Anybody who's not watching at all, I gotta turn on this other heater. Pretty cold. All right, other things I need to paint are these. These are basically scraps of wood that I'm gonna turn into money. That's one of my main goals here in this shop. Turn free wood into money. And these are for image transfer. That one could be white. That'll be gray. I'll keep that one gray. So this is the blue dusk color. This is chalk paint, and these are going to be for image transfers. Chalk paint is the best type of paint for image transfers. It has like a plaster of Paris type stuff inside. Yeah, this is fine. So it's kind of like, in a way, like painting on cement. And it really grabs the image when you Mod Podge in reversed image. Let it dry for a day, and then come back and rub it off with a little moisture and water, and it rubs the paper away and the image stays. And so I am creating some little image wall. These are basically going to be wall hangers, like home decor, like most of the stuff I make. So the other points are, there's lots of different types of meditation. Again, like when in early recovery, when someone started talking about meditation, I'm just like, don't tell me to meditate. For real, if I'm got a big, like I have an urge and I'm on the way to see my dude or whatever it is, by that point you've kind of already relapsed. But I am not gonna just sit down and meditate. You could actually do that, and it does help. There's tools in Smart Recovery that help us take a little pause and think about what we're doing. Is it rational? Is it aligning with who I want to be? Is it going to help my goals? And usually the answer is no with using. And we put it into practice, because if you're anything like me, you need to do it over and over. There to get some white on there, over and over and over and over and over, until it becomes just like second nature. And so that's the thing, is they're not going to, these tools do not work overnight, the smart recovery tools. It's not instant gratification like we're used to in active addiction. It takes practice. And again, that's what being in the shop helped me put those things into practice more easy. I did put roadblocks in front of me. I had a lot of people call it a relapse prevention plan. I teach APPR, which is Action Planning for Prevention and Recovery, and that is a meeting that I facilitate through my nonprofit. And anyway, it's a action plan. So when we're in our right mind and we're good and we want recovery, we have to put a plan in place while we're thinking rationally. And so in some instances, roadblocks ahead of us, that when we are having huge urges, we run into that roadblock. And man, sometimes, let me tell you, in early recovery, that'll make you so mad. Why did I, delete that guy's number? Why did I, give my wife all my money, type of thing. And so we got to put roadblocks ahead of ourselves. And that's what another thing that helped me is to put an action plan into place. So yeah, some call it a relapse prevention plan. Some call it action planning for prevention and recovery, which is based off of the RAP program by, I think, Mary Ellen Copeland. RAP wellness, the RAP action plan, wellness recovery action plan. Yeah, I'm trying to think of the acronym. Anyway, it's based off of the RAP program. And so anyway, it's like we got to put a plan into place. So that helped me in addition to staying in the shop. What color do I want this transfer to be? So the original piece of wood, after we sand it, the scrap wood that we got for free, and we're going to turn it into money. After we sand it for image transfers and making, rustic looking signs and stuff, we start with black. You put black on it first. And a really cool YouTube channel, I think it's called My Upcycled Life or Our Upcycled Life. She does, that's her thing, and she really does image transfers like no other. I can't compare, but a lot of what I'm doing is based off of her teaching, so go check her out. What color? Well, since I already have this one, I was gonna do gray. Yeah, let's do gray. I have one more brush that's not. So here's the gray chalk paint. So first you put a black layer of paint, whatever, doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be chalk paint, it can be acrylic craft paint, is I think what I'm using. But then you put chalk paint on top of it, and this chalk paint is like really heavy because, like I said, it has what's almost like cement in there, so that's why I'm mixing it like that. So yes, there's many different types of meditation. There's mindfulness meditation, where observing thoughts without judgment, just sitting with your thoughts and being mindful of them without judgment. Sounds crazy, right? But again, all these are like practices. You gotta put them into practice. Somebody was like, man, I tried meditation last night and it didn't work. Like, well, try it again. And then try it again until you, because that's what I had to do. Is I'm not like gonna tell people this is what you do. I'm not a clinician, but I tell you what's worked for me. And I too was one that was like, don't tell me to meditate, or journal, which that's a whole nother subject. But I kept at it, and I finally found a really good. Oh, speaking of, I want to put some music on. I found a really good guided meditation on YouTube that I actually liked the voice. Some of them, the voice, it guides you, it helps you to meditate and think of your breath, and it guides you. Well, a lot of them have really weird sounding voices. Some of them probably AI. Some of them are trying too hard. Well, anyway, I finally found one and tried it again, and that is when it opened my mind to real traditional meditation. And the feeling I had from that is the same kind of feeling I get from movement meditation, finding peace through repetitive physical action like woodworking, gardening, yoga. It's, yeah, that's what I'm talking about here today is movement meditation, as some of the people who get paid more money than me say. And that's what that's pretty much the basis of my nonprofit organization. A maker's program for people in recovery. So it's not art therapy, it's making stuff like woodworking, metalwork, clay arts, even things down to anything you can think of that can make. Some people will just say, "Oh, it's crafts," but anyway, I'm starting a nonprofit because this movement meditation was so helpful for me that I didn't see any other programs out there like that. And so we have started, and we are a 501c3, but it's all based off of that movement meditation. But there's lots of benefits. Like I said, it could translate to making money. It's both sides, yeah. It could translate to if they learn woodworking or something, they could get a job woodworking. And we want to introduce our peers to new things that they can get into to find passion and purpose, and it ignites motivation and excitement and recovery. There's not a lot of talk about that, but it's super important. Finding yourself, finding what you like, not just drugs, not just whatever your problem addiction might be. That's the basis of my nonprofit, and that's why I'm streaming live right now. One of my participants asked me, "What's it like in your shop? You know, what do you do? What do you make?" And because a lot of the making we do right now is at other maker spaces, because we don't have our own maker space quite yet. That would be a goal that I would like in the future. All right, so I got these two gray. I can take these outside now on the porch and then get to work on the real project here. Oh, waiter, carrying 5 things at once. Doo-doo-doo. All right, those are done. One more, and then we clean up the paints. The other types of meditation are guided visualization. I mean, there's lots of different types. There a trans something meditation, transcendence. I don't know. What is it? Tell me. That one is hardcore. I know Avicii was really into that. That's basically, yeah, that's a different type of meditation. But there is guided visualization using mental imagery. to find calm. There is, that's what it was. Transcendental, transcendental, transcendental meditation using a mantra to settle the mind. It was right there the whole time. Okay. All right, I gotta go clean these brushes as well. So I think that's all I need to paint and clean my hands. Yes, that is all I need to paint right now. So I will be right back. I'm gonna leave the microphone here because I gotta go bring this in and clean all these brushes and start staining material out on the shelves. Ouch. All right, I'll be right back. So my thing's still working, yeah. Still have battery. Okay. My phone's still working. And there's still nobody watching. Yay! That's not surprising at all. Man, the live streaming world is so weird. I'm 41, so yeah, I'm like an old person and don't understand. But the other day I was swiping through some live streams on YouTube. I've never been on Twitch or anything. And there was just lots of stuff that was interesting that people watch. And it's funny because I do like whatever that Chinese game is where they roll the balls. That's pretty cool. I would like to try that, but I don't know where that is around here. Other than that, it was like people watching someone write their name, new subscriber, and then they write their name in like sand or something. That like people like that to watch that. That's cool. And then people opening, Pokemon cards, all that type of stuff. Yeah. So anyway, it's an interesting world, the world of streaming. All right. So I do need to, I believe, put down some of this carpet for the next thing. Actually, I'm going to use this carpet instead, so it doesn't get, too crazy dirty. Like I said, my shop is so tiny, but I love it. Everything is in first order of retrieval. Everything's easy to grab and work quickly. I have a high ceiling so I can turn big pieces of wood and stuff. So right now I am going to put stain on the tear outs. Not all of them teared out, but they do need a little work on them. So that one's bad. So this is tear out. Yes, I should have done it probably before I stained it, but I didn't think I'd have that much tear out. Anyway, so I'm gonna put stain on that. I need a tiny brush and the stain and gloves. This should work. And then when that stain dries, it is lacquer time. I would like to not be walking over these the whole day. I actually only have like an hour and 15 minutes left before I gotta pick up my kid. And then it's no bueno for the work stuff, usually. But I love it. All right. Gloves so I don't stain my hands. Man, I gotta do some gloves. I like talking to myself. I do it anyway, so I might as well live stream it. Oh man. So yeah, let's see, what other types of meditations are there? I'm gonna put these up. These are just talking points, so that one's trash. These are my plans. Don't need those. So the smart recovery ones, I'll put up and start talking about those. So, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna be professional and use some tape after I put on my gloves. Hope nothing's behind there that I need. I don't think so. What else will I need? I could use my Dremel to kind of quickly clean some of this up, but he's not that picky. What should I do? I will use the Dremel. Dremel with the sander attachment. This is for when I'm laser burning as an exhaust. I can put that back because it was in my way drilling 60 holes last night until like 1:30. So interesting. Yeah, I got a lot of this stuff to clean up, but we can do that later. Dremel. This one seems like it would be good. That one, no, James. Just get the new one. So I'm using the Dremel to kind of, in a way, kind of like deburring. Just kind of cleaning up the holes a little bit. I'm going to use this. Just because it's going to be quick. Not as quick as I think. Alright, here we go with the Dremel. I really just need to go soften this. Yes. Do not follow I'm not giving any advice on workshop etiquette or safety, so do not do some of the things you see me do. I just turn the Dremel on without my glasses. So now I have glasses. So now I'm just taking a tiny little brush and putting a little bit more stain on, and I mean tiny because I don't have time for all this to dry. I really don't have time to do this to every hole, but maybe if the tear out's bad I will, because this will take too long. Music. Oh, do. I need a little bit of music. If you're ever wondering, can you live stream? If you have YouTube Premium, you can live stream and watch on another channel. Like, well, yeah, you could watch yourself, but you could watch, like, play other videos. Yep, there I am. Live. copyright free, so, and I'm not putting this as part of my video, but it's just for me personally. Actually, I did use this in another video, but it's just chill. Any of y'all into any arts and crafts or making stuff? I'm so fascinated with what makes people do certain crafts. Like one guy in my smart recovery meeting is a blacksmith, he says, and his wife is a leather worker. That is so awesome. I love doing leather work. But it's like, what got you into that originally? Always curious. Because that's what I'm trying to do, is introduce that to different stuff like that to people so they find their thing. Like I said, finding new passion, purpose, and recovery is very important. Okay, so this one's done. I might wipe that part later, but come on. Tiny shop. There goes my oh man, my brush. Not too bad. Yeah, I can't see the screen anyway, so I don't know why I asked you that, because I can't see anyway. I gotta remember to blow the dust off of this piece of wood before I go on with spraying it with lacquer. And I think I am gonna use my spray gun, my air spray gun, because it's a lot of pieces. I will wipe all these off later. I just need a little bit of this out, but I don't have time for that. I'm only using the Dremel. It should be used on this one, darn it. I'm sorry if that's super loud, but it's just what I gotta do. I gotta do what I gotta do. Might as well turn down. I won't talk. I gotta get this. I take very much attention to detail. I care about it. I don't want anyone to be able to see this tear out from underneath, because part of the shelf is going to be pretty high. Otherwise, you would say, I'm not going to stain all the tear out. But someone said quality is where you put attention to detail even in places that people won't see it. That's quality craftsmanship. And so I like to pride myself on quality craftsmanship. Dremel. All right. I should probably go ahead and turn off my mic because it's probably annoying. But yeah, if anyone is even watching, if you're in recovery, I highly encourage you to explore all creative outlets. Even if you think it might be stupid, go line dance. Go try that watercolor workshop you've been looking at, stained glass. There's a really cool stained glass shop that's opened in my area, and then there's a girl who does, she's pretty popular on Instagram, does stained glass workshops. I will definitely be doing that. And I encourage you, if you're in recovery, whoa, that one is really dirty. Air gun. All right, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and turn off my mic. But the point is meditation doesn't have to be sitting and quiet inward meditation. It can be as simple as movement meditation, finding peace through repetitive physical action, like woodworking, gardening, yoga, etc. There's guided visualization using mental imagery to find calm, transcendental. There's all types of meditation, but being in the shop, woodworking, doing whatever you like to make, keep doing it. It was so helpful for my recovery. Okay, yeah. I tell you what, I'm gonna put this, because I really want to go over the other smart recovery stuff under meditation practice. I also encourage you to go on Smart Recovery's website. A lot of their tools are under resources for free. All their tools are posted on the website. This one is called Meditation Practice. And yeah, I highly encourage it. So what I'm going to do is just take off my mic and put it over there so you don't hear this Dremel so crazy loud. And it doesn't matter anyway, no one's watching. Oh, hey, what's up? Hi, Joanne. Um, that's it for the loud part. Let's see how much. So this battery's still kicking. Where is the battery? So my phone's still working. Right, yep, that was the loud part. So I'm gonna bring it all down here. So this is what I'm doing now, is staining all the tear out. Last night I drilled 60 holes, 1-inch big old holes in all these, and it took a long time, but there was some tear out on the back end, so I'm going back over with that. Even if I would have had to do that Dremel thing anyway if I did this before I stained. So, live and you learn. Don't use me as an example. So I'll go back and wipe all these. It's just faster for me to bebop this way. And I know this phone is rocking on this stand, so I'm sorry about that, but no one's... y'all aren't no one, I'm sorry, but I've got a couple, like 2-3 people watching, so I still feel weird talking to myself, but I also don't mind it, because talking about recovery, that's the whole point, is staying in the shop keeps me out of trouble, and I want other people to experience that too, is getting into their finding something they might like, to find passion and purpose in recovery, igniting excitement and motivation. Because a lot of people, sorry, I know it's like my nose is being stupid today, very runny, and I can't keep blowing my nose, but for a lot of people in early recovery, there's a giant void that they experience of time in their life, and so because ripping and running is like seriously a full-time job that doesn't pay, and all it does is take and take and take, and we used for some reason, it gave us something, and for a lot of people that was comfort. A lot of people, it was they were around it. It was kind of like the culture, part of growing up, which is partly why I experienced what I experienced. But yeah, in early recovery, we're left with a giant void. It's like, okay, now what? Stopping using is, some people say, the easy part. It's doing all the other work. That's the hard part, and finding yourself. And this is part of it. Trying new things. I think, Joanne, you missed my little story earlier. Is after I got home from jail and rehab, the only thing that I had that I didn't sell for drugs was a chop saw, that one skill chop saw I had, and I found an old old 4x4, sanded it, and just started cutting it into pieces, and ended up making those coasters that you may be familiar with. And it just kind of started from there. I found great benefit from the repetitive action. That's kind of what we're talking about today, is the tangible results, but also the flow state of being creative in or finding passions, new things in recovery. And so today and tomorrow night, my in-person meeting for Smart Recovery, we'll be talking about one of the Smart Recovery tools that they suggest, and that's meditation. And so I started off by saying, for me, being in the shop is kind of like my meditation. For somebody else, it might be watercolor. Uh, People laugh and joke, it's cheaper than my therapist. And so this type of meditation, being in the flow state, would be considered the movement meditation. Finding peace through repetitive physical action. It's a different type of meditation because a lot of people are like, man, don't tell me to meditate. But it's not just sitting there and doing that type of meditation that transcendental meditation, or even mindfulness meditation. So anyway, one of the Smart Recovery tools based off of their 4-point program and finding balance in your life. Finding new passions is one of them, and then meditation is another. There's many. Lots of tools in the toolbox. But so as a facilitator, my role is to initiate conversation with the group, and as a peer recovery specialist, I'm supposed to share my experience. So I'm not a clinician, I'm just someone who's been there too and wants to help others who are might be in a different stage of their ambivalence, to show them hope that recovery is possible. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing as a facilitator, and tomorrow night, the key points to highlight meditation is about paying attention on purpose. It helps with stress, focus, and self-awareness, and you can practice mindfulness meditation in many everyday situations, and that's the movement meditation that we're doing right now, at least for me. Great ideas that they have. So we would start with something simple, like breathing. That's kind of what all meditation is based around. All right, so I'm letting the stains soak into the tear outs, and I know I'm jumping around here, but I have one more to paint. Darn it! Oh no, 3 more. It never ends. But with breathing, so you would pause and take a few mindful breaths anytime, at your desk, in your shop. A lot of these tools, like I said, are to cause us or help us to pause and not just react to situations. And putting it into practice is hard. It's not like something that works overnight. You got to do it over and over and over and over. And finding your breath is one of them. And that is kind of the basis of all meditation, bringing it back to your breath. But you can do that anytime, even in a meeting or before making a big decision. So we would ask the group, where else might you be able to have mindful movement in your day? Like I said, watercoloring. One person said driving for them, maybe they're driving out in the country or something, but they find that type of meditation driving. And like I've said before, I have to say a lot, is I am not a medical professional. I'm not suggesting anyone goes and uses driving as their meditation. It's just what one of my peers said when we were talking about it a few weeks ago. So yeah, anything you hear in this channel from me is not meant to be necessarily advice in any particular instance. It's just what has helped me, and when talking about, darn it, smart recovery, those are tools that have helped lots of other people in the past as well. But you always want to, a lot of times, if you're in early recovery and things were serious, you also would do therapy with a licensed professional. Even though I'm a registered peer recovery specialist through the Counseling Commission, I can't say I provide therapy. I do not provide counseling. I'm a peer recovery specialist sharing my lived experience. So that's why we say this is therapeutic arts time. It's not arts therapy in some instances. All right, so now all the holes are touched up, and now I'm gonna, oh gosh, start wiping them up. I gotta keep an eye on the time. 2:44. Hi, Joanne. I should just talk to you. What do you like to do for meditation, Joanne? As what you could consider meditation. If you're awake. Are you awake? Maybe you left and you just left the comment. My guess is watercolor. Did I guess right? That's your form of meditation. Painting. Just because it's so common, I say that. Yeah, she gone. Alright, so it'll just be a little less noticeable now, the tear out. I think next, I need to get these clean because they all have a little bit of dust on them before I put lacquer on. And I should clean up the shop so dust isn't flying around when I put lacquer on them. I will probably do all the prep before lacquer and then paint lacquer on them tonight. It's probably what's going to happen. All these are due on Friday. I'm installing them. And that's a pushed back time. So it was like, can you do it Friday at least? It's like, man. I will try. Wow, that one's really bad. I'm gonna leave some stain on some of these that are really bad. Anybody else? What do you do that kind of helps you meditate? Do you make clothing? Let's think about all the things, all the creative things. Oh my gosh, there's so many. No one cares. All right, so there's material arts, textile arts, making clothes, fashion design, just the design aspect. There's, where did this come from? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think this is from this group, yeah. Oh man, so many pieces of wood. What am I doing? Alright, I'm putting this here. So you don't have to hear me. I got one minute notice. Alright. I'm just wiping these pieces where they are. Anybody? What do you do for meditation? Oh. Sorry, I had to blow my nose so I'm not being gross on camera or on the mic. Alright, how much battery we got? 31. Alright. I'm done with this. Need to keep wiping. Oh. Alright. I'm gonna put you back up, way up here. Way up here. I don't want it to fall though. Ay, ay, ay. Alright, it's not gonna fall, hopefully. I just gotta wipe, keep wiping some of the stain off of these tear outs. So yeah, I think after this I'm gonna clean up some of the dust in here and off of these so I can put lacquer on them all tonight. Maybe I'll turn on the camera then too. I think I wiped these. Alright, I think that it's not all of them. So many. Uh-oh. It's okay. I'll figure it out later. But what is this one for? Just look at this. Wow. I had them marked. All right, it's fine. I know I have all the pieces. So now it's time to clean up so I can start getting it clean in here and not dusty. Woo. I don't need that. Yeah, see, there's dust on those, and I didn't even do any woodworking today. So this place is dusty. I need to turn on my exhaust fan while I clean all this. Again, so I can put lacquer on them tonight, the clear finish, and so it's not getting dust all over everything. All right, I probably, no, because I'm gonna lacquer there. I need to keep all these poles together. So here's the poles for the project. Probably Thursday night, I will be putting together. Oh, I gotta spray paint all of those. Wow, lots of work, lots of work. All right, this I'll keep out. Lord have mercy. I don't know if this is frowned upon, but while I'm here for a couple more minutes, I'm gonna put the mic up here by the non-copyright, copyright-free music. Sorry about that. All right, so my phone's about to die. But when you, I know it looks crazy, like I'm a crazy person just vacuuming everything in my shop quickly. Well, A, I'm running out of time, but also when you have a wood shop, dust gets on everything, everything. And I quite often have to do this vacuum cleanup with the shop vac that has a like double filter in it for small micron for dust, wood dust. Because I'm finishing tonight, I'm doing a clear coat on things, so I can't have dust settle onto the clear coat because it's supposed to be smooth and shiny. And so that's why I'm going around crazy vacuuming right now. And actually, I gotta go, honestly, but I can get a little bit more done. Oh, shoot, sorry about that. Again, I was cleaning like a crazy person because I have to go pick up my son now. I cannot believe all of a sudden it's 3 o'clock. But I'm trying to get like as much dust out of here as possible so I can do the finishing tonight. So that's why I'm trying to, I kind of look OCD, like I'm trying to get everything, but it's just because I have to do the to do the staining, the finish tonight. So I gotta go pick up my son now. So it's been real for all those crazy people. Thanks for watching.